Welcome back to Unbox Warehouse. Today on the table we have right here on the table today, we have two of the most impressive virtual reality systems to date. Both of these products right here are made by Oculus. Now, this particular model of Gear VR right here works with the Galaxy Note 8. They have some other models. Check your phone before you buy one. Over here in the right corner, we have the Oculus Rift, a very popular device. Both of these are extremely impressive devices, but today, I'm gonna tell you what I like about these, the difference. We're gonna go over the specs, and I'm gonna tell you my personal opinion on which one of these I prefer to use. Now, to really understand which one of these products is right for you, we really need to understand the specs and how those specs will affect your life. How those specs will affect how you use these products right here on a daily basis. First off, let's talk about controllers. Here are the controllers. This right here is the controller for the new Gear VR. It has one single trigger button, it has a home button, it has a back button, and it has a volume control. Very convenient to have that volume control. Versus this amazing piece of engineering, the Oculus Rift touch controllers. Okay? Now the difference is here, this comes with it. You have to buy these. Okay? Are these comparable? We'll get to that in a second. Let's compare the size. The width of the Gear VR is wider. The Gear VR measures 208 millimeters versus 184 millimeters for the Oculus Rift. That's a 12% difference in size, the Oculus Rift being smaller. The height of these devices, the Oculus Rift is shorter, but only by 10%, okay? This is about 123 millimeters tall. This is about 89 millimeters tall. It's also shorter, if you can see from the side. Shorter is the depth from your face to the end of the device. The Oculus Rift is about 7% shorter. 7% shorter, so the Oculus Rift is winning out here in size. What about the weight of these two devices? The Oculus Rift weighs about 470 grams, and the Gear VR weighs about 345 grams. But it doesn't have a phone in it. That weight is with no phone. If you put a Note 8 or a Galaxy S8 Plus in here, you're looking at about 518 to 520 grams of weight versus 470 total for the Oculus. And the Oculus has built-in headphones. So the Oculus wins again. The build quality. The Gear VR is made almost entirely of cheap plastic, okay? The whole thing is plastic. The Oculus Rift has really nice fabric and textured fabric. You see that? It's a better build quality. Everything seems sturdier. The design of the Oculus Rift is just better. What does it take to run these two devices? On the right, you're gonna need a computer. Probably gonna spend 500 plus. Now, this particular Gear VR is for a Note 8, so you're looking at almost $1,000 in order to get a device for this. But if you get the one that runs off the S7, you can pick one of those up used for 250 bucks when you're gonna spend 500 over here. This is where we get into the meat of the operation. Why is this better than this in some categories? Notice something different about these two devices? Look at this. Nothing on here. Nothing. This Gear VR is completely wireless. This thing is covered in wires. I mean, and that's not even including your sensors. That's just the wires for the headset. But what benefits do you get from those extra wires? Well, you get what they call positional tracking, which the Gear VR doesn't do positional tracking. What positional tracking is, if you have this dude on and you move your head like this, the whole world moves like that. This only works from a single pivot point. Now, if you don't move your head a lot, this gives a very similar experience to the Oculus Rift. But the second you lean in on something, or you lean to the side or look around a corner, this won't do it. And you lose that immersion. You lose that sense that creates the virtual world that you're in. So the Oculus Rift, if you're looking for complete immersion, is it. If you're gonna sit down and pivot your head around in one spot, this one will do the job just fine. When you use this, it basically gives you a hand in the virtual world. You can pull your fingers, you can move your fingers, you can do things with this. If you move it like this, the hand moves in virtual reality, real time, away from you, close to you. This thing tracks flawlessly in VR. This, on the other hand, not so much. This is just good at pointing things. It basically pivots a laser beam from one spot. If you do this, the controller doesn't move over here. It doesn't move over here in VR. You can only basically point from one position like this. All right, we talked about this earlier, but the Oculus Rift has built-in headphones. And you know what? There's no complaints with those headphones. Those headphones work beautifully. Beautifully. I love them. I don't need anything else. I'm completely satisfied with my experience with those headphones. Now, when you use the Gear VR and you don't want to use headphones, the sound will only come out of one end of the phone. It really kind of ruins the experience hearing everything in one ear. If you use headphones, now you have a wire dangling that gets in the way, it messes with you, it hits you. Everybody knows that that's not something you want to happen. So there's a downfall. What about resolution? Which one of these devices do you think has better resolution? If you guess this one, you'd be wrong. Actually, with the new AMOLED displays on the new devices, this little cheap thing has better resolution. 1440 by 1280 per eye, 1200 by 1080. Both are respectable, but you actually get better screen resolution with this little dude here. Now, to use this, you need a big, expensive PC. But that expensive PC gives you a much, much better graphical experience within the game. You're limited to the processing power of your cell phone when you utilize the Gear VR. But you're limited to your wallet when it comes to the graphical experiences you can achieve with the Oculus Rift. Now, we talked about how this one is skinnier. This is a little bit skinnier here, like 12% skinnier than this device, but this actually has a wider field of view. The Gear VR has a 110-degree field of view, 110. Very good. This one, not so much. This is only 101, right? So this creates more of the effect that you're scuba diving with goggles on. The Gear VR only has a refresh rate of 60 Hertz, while the Oculus Rift has a refresh rate of 90 Hertz, depending on your computer and your processing power. Inner pupillary distance, IPD. Do you know what that means? That is how wide your eyes are apart. Everybody's face is a little different. So that is adjustable on one of these. You can adjust the lenses to fit this. If your eyes are spaced way out, then you might have a different experience if you use this Gear VR, because this has a fixed IPD. The Oculus Rift has an adjustable IPD. See that switch there? You can move this back and forth, and you'll notice the lenses move back and forth. That is not possible with the Gear VR. What is possible though is focus. You have a focus wheel. It rolls in and out. You might not even need your glasses. You might be able to correct your vision with that focus that the Oculus Rift does not have. You will have to wear your glasses. Now, you can wear your glasses in both of these devices. Like we said before, this product right here, the Gear VR, this was a collaboration between Samsung and Oculus. This only works with Samsung phones. There's no better VR experience on a mobile phone than the Gear VR, because they teamed up with Oculus. This device here is Oculus slash Facebook. Facebook owns Oculus only. Samsung has nothing to do with the Oculus Rift. You're looking at about $130 for this device here and a minimum of $250 for a phone that'll function with this device. Oculus Rift is now going for $499, but if you want these lovely touch controllers, which you're gonna want, you don't wanna own this without having these. This with these is gonna cost you about $600. Plus, you're gonna need a computer that's about $550 minimum to have the specs required to run this. If I got more than a few minutes to set up, I'm going for the Oculus Rift all day. It's a more comfortable headset. This headset kind of hurts my face a little bit. I have to set up at a computer with a table, all kinds of stuff to get this going. Once I get this going, this is far better device than this. But if I want to play for 10 minutes, if I want to get my VR fix for the day, I go to this bad boy right here. That's all you gotta do. You snap your phone in there and you're done. If I could only own one of these devices, which would it be? I'd say I'd have to go with the Gear VR. I think I use this one more. This one's more convenient. This one is more fun for people to let me show it to them real quickly. This is a better way to get more people into VR, which is important for the industry, because if people aren't playing VR, they're gonna stop making VR. And it is way too cool to let this tech die. VR tried to come around one time before and it died. I don't want it to die this time. It is far too much fun. If I were you, I would own a Samsung phone and a Gear VR. Even if you're an Apple guy, buy yourself an old used Samsung phone and maybe an older model of the Gear VR. Don't hook it up, don't pay a monthly bill. You can just download all the apps through Wi-Fi, leave your device hooked in here, and you now have a cheap budget, amazing VR machine. All right, thank you for watching the comprehensive review of the Samsung Gear VR versus the Oculus Rift right here on Unbox Warehouse. Make sure you tune in and see what we open next.